Welcome to Language Explorers, where we share the magic of language and emotions. I'm Stacey Marie, and in each episode, we explore the emotional and personal connections we have with the languages we speak, and how this changes the way we think and act. Curious? Keep listening. Today, I'm excited to share another inspiring conversation that can open your mind to new perspectives. No matter which language we're speaking, every conversation is a chance to learn, grow, share, and have some fun. So, let's explore words and expand our world together.
Before we dive into today's conversation, here's a quick update on how the podcast is structured. I'm regularly sharing 2 different interviews. Both are divided into several short episodes. One mini-series of episodes is in French with Lidia, as she has been in love with French for many years. The other mini-series interview is with Isabelle, who recently discovered her voice in English. These stories alternate weekly, giving you the choice to follow one, the other, or both. These episodes are spontaneous and unscripted, capturing the joy of authentic connection. I hope this energy inspires you as much as it inspired us. Now let's get started.
Welcome back, Isabelle, to this next episode. I am excited and happy to speak with you again. Thank you. Me too. In this podcast, I wanted to come back to the fact that I invited you to be my guest today, and you said yes so enthusiastically. And I was really surprised by the fact that I didn't hear any hesitation in your voice, really, because it was only last year that you really found your voice in English and start to speak. So for me, it's been a really big change in my point of view in seeing you learn to know what you're capable of and to be so confident speaking. And another reason why I think it surprised me so much is because it was so different from my experience with learning French, where for me it was so much slower and so much more discomfort for such a long period of time. I was running from French for quite some time. I was so scared to speak and so afraid that people wouldn't understand me. It was really long. And when I saw this transformation that was so fast, I was so intrigued and I just needed to know how that happened with you and how that was. Um, the input of this question is really simple. You, you are the main reason because had some knowledge in English because I was like hidden behind my screen and behind my books and behind my TV. I was learning English, but I never told to someone. I was learning, but I wasn't practicing at all. I never pronounced a word. It was really, really a big obstacle. I don't know if we can say an obstacle. But yeah, and yes, my speaking was not really good because I didn't practice at all. And when I was feeling ready to start some English classes with you, I was a bit stressed because I thought I was just capable to understand in English, but I wasn't able to speak. And you just let me the time to get my word and help me through this process. And it became so natural. It just with the context and with the fun of our conversations because it was like just a normal conversation and I was really comfortable. It became yes easy for me and yes, maybe the fast process is because I've learned English for a long time, but I just needed the, je sais pas comment dire ça, j'avais besoin d'un petit coup de boost, juste pour me pousser à parler en anglais.
Yeah, I get it. You could say I just needed a boost, or I just needed
A boost?
a little push, maybe?
Yes, a little push.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing that with me. Yeah, it does help to clarify it when you share that you were learning for such a long time, right? And you were learning, you were acquiring the knowledge, but you weren't putting it into practice in speaking, in practice in different ways, in comprehension, but not in speaking. Where my experience was different in the way that I arrived in France. And I needed to use the language. I needed to make myself understood, but I didn't have all of that baggage, as you might say. I didn't have all that vocabulary. I was really starting out with very simple sentence structure and vocabulary because I was learning at the same time that I was actually needing to use it. There was that part. And it was also, I would say, and even more so, the fear that was stopping me. Really, I was very scared. I was incredibly shy, and that really did not help me a lot. So part of it is I didn't have all of that knowledge because I spend years in school. I just arrived in France and I only had what I call a cereal box vocabulary because in Canada, because French and English are both the official languages, on certain documents or, on packaging, it's mandatory, obligatoire, to have English and French on these certain things. So I saw a little bit of French when I was a child, but I really didn't care. I didn't really need it. And so I didn't integrate very much other than what was on the cereal box. Maybe I recognized those words because I saw them so much. But yeah, it was a very, very different experience. But the confidence issue was very different for me.
I was just thinking that it is really different experience because if I was learning English from the beginning while I am practicing the speaking right now, it will be so difficult because we don't have so much word and it's so difficult to make a sentence with just a little of words and a little of verb. And it's, yes, I think, and as you mentioned that you felt a bit shy
I'm
at
very
this
shy.
time, and it was my case a few years ago. And I had a problem with my own self-confidence. And I just took an appointment with a psychotherapist for me because I felt that I needed to move on because I was stuck with people. I was too shy and it was really embarrassing for me. It went against me for my personal projects, my professional projects, and my mental health. I decided to go to a psychotherapist to help me through. And it helped me a lot because I am feeling a lot better now. And I'm feeling really confident because I didn't want to speak English with a single person yesterday. And now I'm speaking on your podcast without any fear. So it could help.
Yeah, that's so true. Yes, that issue of not having the self-confidence can really be a big barrier to daring to communicate, whether it be in a new language or daring to do other things too. So thank you for sharing that. And that's a really interesting idea. I don't think I've ever heard anybody make that connection before, that actually seeing maybe a psychologist or a psychotherapist or people in the mental health field, that is something that could help you with your language learning. Normally it's
I'm going to go to take some courses. I'm going to go to school. I'm going to learn to acquire the knowledge. And that's a very different point of view. I'm going to actually go and work on becoming confident, work on my shyness or whatever the obstacles are, and removing those mental barriers to be able to access a language that is very different and a very interesting view on how to break down those barriers. Thank you so much. Okay, so for this episode,
You're welcome.
Thank you so much. I'd like to wrap up this one. So to end it so that we can move on to the next episode, if that's okay with you. I would like to go into a little bit more detail in how it was that you came to this realization that you had these skills, but you didn't know you have them. I think that's really interesting and incredible. Thank you, Faithy.
Thank you for joining us for this inspiring conversation with Isabelle, where we shared her journey from years of silent learning to confidently speaking English, even being interviewed in a podcast. Her story highlights how building confidence, not just knowledge, can unlock your ability to communicate in another language. Isabelle's experience is a powerful reminder. Sometimes the key to progress lies in removing the mental and emotional barriers that hold us back. Interestingly, Isabelle credits working with a psychotherapist as a turning point in building her confidence, not just in language learning, but in all areas of her life. Science tells us that confidence is not fixed. It's a skill that can grow with practice and support. When we feel safe and empowered, our brain releases chemicals that enhance learning and memory, making progress smoother and more enjoyable. Now, what about you? What mental or emotional barriers have held you back in your language learning journey? Or even in other areas of your life? And what small step could you take today to start breaking through those barriers? If this conversation resonated with you, let me know in the comments or rate the episode with some stars or a like. If you know someone who might need a little boost to take their next step into their journey, would you please share it with them? And remember, confidence grows when we take action, reflect, and connect.
If you enjoyed this episode, please join us next time for more stories that reveal the beauty and power of language. Until then, keep exploring.